This is Mission Qualfon, a monthly podcast that takes you inside the workings of our company, but not just the ins and outs of business. We look at the ideas and insights that make Qualfon truly unique. As a company, we are committed to being the best and making each person's life better. Join us as we get to know and learn from people from across the organization. What's their story? What have they learned? And how do they live out Qualfon's mission? Welcome to Mission Qualfon.
Welcome to Mission Qualfon. This is your host, Marisol, with Jeremy London. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, how are you, Marisol? This is our 5th episode. Can you believe we're all the way to number 5?
We have our Chief Mission Officer, Roberto, coming on this episode. And since we are called Mission Qualfon, it's kind of a big deal, and I'm excited, and I can believe it because I think we're doing an amazing job, and we've gotten so much positive feedback. Last week we had Lyman on. I was overwhelmed by how well it was received.
Interesting about Lyman. I posted a little thing on my own social media, just a link to the episode, and I had several of my friends. You know, they don't work in the industry, they don't work for Qualfon, but they said they were very impressed. First of all, I was surprised that they listened to it because they're not affiliated with the company or the industry even, but they were impressed with the educational programs that we have. And I thought that was really neat.
I actually had a friend as well who's out of the industry listen to it and asked me if Qualfon was hiring. If we need a real estate agent, someone call me.
Okay. Great. Well, I mentioned before we started here, Marisol, that, you know, I started, my history goes back a ways. 2006 is when I started. I spent some time away from the company, but when I came back, and during that time was when, you know, my former company had been acquired by Qualfon. So I came back in 2014, and my very first day back, one of the first people I met was Roberto. And I knew right away that Qualfon was a completely different company than what the company I'd been with previously. And when I think about the mission of Qualfon, the first person I think of is Roberto. So I'm very much looking forward to being able to talk with Roberto today.
Are you able to say his whole name? Because I feel like I'm not going to be able to.
Well, I don't Sanchez. Say it as pretty. I can't speak.
Mejorada?
It's Roberto Sanchez Mejorada. That's the Americanized version because I can't roll my R's. Roberto, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Roberto, how are
Welcome, you? Roberto.
Thank you so much.
Did I say your name okay?
Perfect.
Roberto Sanchez Mejorada.
See, I'm here with two people who can speak Spanish, and I'm not one of them. But
well, we have a big Spanish contingency within our company. I mean, we have.
Yes, we do. Our company started in Mexico, and many of our leaders are from Mexico. And
I think in the future we should do podcast number 2 in Spanish.
That's a great idea.
Roberto should run it.
Yeah, that would be a great idea. I mentioned, Marisol, that, you know, I met Roberto my first day at Qualfon. And then about 2 weeks after that, I get on a plane with Roberto. And the two of us fly to the Philippines and spent 2 weeks in the Philippines, which to this day is probably the best 2 weeks I've spent professionally. It was just a great experience. And obviously Roberto was a big part of that. So Roberto, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So Roberto, before we talk about the mission or talk to you about work, I heard a story about you that I would like you to tell our audience.
Oops.
Well, I heard a little story about your college days and a big earthquake in Mexico.
Yes, I can't forget. I can't forget that.
Can you share that story? Because I think it's just a remarkable one.
Well, 1985, I was a young student at in a Mexico City University, and 7:20 I was arriving to the campus, and remember, no cell phones in that age. So I saw a friend who was an alumni. I was the president of the Students Association. So this alumni came running, say, what we're going to do? What we're going to do? I say, about what? The city is destroyed. And of course, I felt a strong earthquake. But
it was huge, right? It was
huge. It was huge.
Outside of Mexico, you may not have heard of it, but it was
huge. Many buildings fell down, big buildings, and of course, many people lost their lives. Numbers roughly are at least 10,000, and we were students, and suddenly my initial idea and this good friend, Juan Ignacio Esteta, say, call to the radio, tell that we're going to help. And I was obedient. I called to the radio, and I had the number because I was studying communications. So I called to the radio, and the call was taken by one of the most popular radio talks, and I just said, we're here and we're going to help. If anyone would like to come to the campus, welcome. Well, 1 hour and 2 hours and 3 hours later, everyone who was living around the campus came to support, because they were seeing the news and the radio that the city was really in a very bad shape. And so they came to bring things, tools, clothes, medicines, and suddenly we started a big support to the city. We were young, we didn't have fear, so all the students, we were in cars, taking and doing the transportation and helping the police and the army, because they were really overwhelmed. Nobody was expecting.
And your leadership qualities just came online.
I never imagined that the plan for my period as a president was to serve in that unexpected. But we learned because others were encouraging us. Others that were older and with more experience, they were saying, you are the young guys, you have the energy, you can do it. You can go to the streets and move rocks and help people and look for more support and do fundraising. And so the 6 months after the university was completely dedicated to support. Every classroom was a warehouse of tools, medicines, and the university is pretty big. So it was a lot of people helping the community, the alumni, the students, the professors, the president of university. Everyone was helping. And what was amazing that we had a radio amateur that in those days, remember those big antennas, and they were transmitting a message to get more help from other countries, because the telephone lines were completely out, right? It was a big outage of telephony and electrical. So that's the story, and the wonderful story is that I discovered my vocation.
I love this story because I feel it represents you in so many ways. A, the leadership. B, your compassion. I would say your passion for service is, what I have gotten a sense from you, which makes you kind of perfect to be the chief mission officer.
No, I don't know that.
So tell us how you ended up at Qualfon as the chief mission officer.
Oh, that was incredible. I was still working. Well, after the earthquake, I decided, and the president of the university invited me to continue working for the university, because I was working for a electrical industrial group. But I decided to join the university to continue, because it was very meaningful what we learned there. So I was working for the university, and I was just 25 years working for higher education and promoting learning and fundraising and alumni relations and marketing and recruitment. I was really excited, a lot of goals, but I received a call from a friend who was in Philippines, and I met him when we were young. and he say, I would like to invite you to consider to come to support the mission of the company. But I didn't know anything about Qualfon. He and Alfonso asked me to make a trip. I was living in Atlanta, Georgia, to Monterrey, and with my wife, he asked me to bring my wife, and he wanted to tell us about the vision and the mission of the company. So we started there, and then he introduced me to Mike Morrow. Mike Morrow was appointed as a CEO recently in 2012. This is the end of 2012. So I met Mike. And when I learned about the mission, I said to myself, this is something really important.
Are you the first chief mission officer for the company? So you're breaking the mold here.
Yes. Well, Alfonso had this position. He thought about the position. He and Mike decided that they wanted to have a chief mission officer. I was not able to look who else was doing something similar. It was not easy, and we had Google, but it was not easy to find some reference. So they asked me to write with them, with their guidance, my job description. And they started to say, we will like this person or this office should do this, should do that, should do that. And they guide me to write my job description, and it took several conversations, long conversations.
I want that. I want to be able to write my own job description.
And then when we finish, I say, well, then you need to look for another person, because this job description, it's really very aspirational. And every day what I am trying to do, Jeremy and Marisol, is try to really fill the shoes, very big shoes that they draw in that job description. I don't feel that I have yet achieved that aspiration and that expectation, but I am working hard with the help of many, many, many good people at Qualfon that we're living the mission together. So in that respect, I think the position is not about me. The position is about the company and everyone that works at Qualfon to really do the mission. The mission is not the mission office. And that's what gives me a lot of peace, and I can sleep very well.
We should also mention, because you mentioned Alfonso, that's our chairman who owns Qualfon, basically. So this was his brainchild, and our CEO, Mike, they both built this whole department because of their belief system. Is that accurate to say?
Yes, because, and I think you say something, but I will tell you what he told me, Alfonso, and say, of course, he owns the company with his family, but he never introduced himself as the owner. He is, I am the administrator. I am the steward. I am a steward in this company with the help of others, of course, Mike. So he doesn't talk like an owner. And this is very unique. And since I learned why, to me was very attractive to partner with them, with all of you, to strive for the mission. And this is something unique, because when he consecrated the company, what he promised to God is that he was an administrator and he will work for the company, that the company can accomplish a mission, and in that way respond to a call. So that for me was very unique and new.
I don't think it's just for you. I think it's universal. It's incredibly unique. I would maybe gather to say that it's the only company I've been able to look up that speaks so freely on things like spirituality and self-development of every single person in the world, not just ourselves.
Roberto also mentioned something that we actually have a whole another interview about, Marisol, and that is the fact that Qualfon is a consecrated company. And so because we've got another interview that goes into that. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about that here, but just the fact that this is a company that is consecrated, that Alfonso views his role as that of a steward. You know, in his mind, this is not his company. This is here to fulfill a mission. And that mission, Roberto, you know, if we put it in a short little bundle, right, it's to be the best and make each person's life better.
And it's universal. And that's because when I learned that part of my mission was, this is based in this fact that Alfonso did it, but that doesn't mean that we push systems of beliefs in a religious way. No. Part of my job is that this is universal and we embrace everyone. Mm-hmm. There is people that could have some beliefs in the faith, in any faith tradition, but what is universal is what you have said. Be the best and make each person's life better.
People think of our mission as it's twofold, you know, right? We want to be the best, and then we want to make people's, you know, each person's life better. But you said something interesting. You said we only have one mission. They're not separated. And so I wonder if you could talk about that a little bit.
This is so important. It's only one because there are these two parts. When you want to divide it, you can divide it in two parts, but it's only for probably understanding the scope of our words. But it's only one mission because the only way that we can make each person's life better is to be the best. And to be the best is not to be perfect. To be the best is to make the best effort to learn, to serve, to execute, to evaluate, to perform, to talk, to deliver a message. To be the best in the sense that we want to be the best for the others, for the client, and for the customer's client, because we are a B2B business, but also we're a B2C because our clients entrust to us the most valuable asset of their own, that it's their customers. Mm-hmm. This relationship that they entrust to us is so delicate that we have the opportunity to make each person's life better every day in every transactions. Millions of transactions and millions of chats and phone calls is where we do, or we strive to be the best. We can make each person's life better at every second. You and Marisol have talked in a customer service of your bank, of your retail store. And when you talk with someone that is really making an effort to provide a solution with kindness and empathy, you really enjoy the call, right?
Absolutely.
That's our opportunity.
So Roberto, the way I frame this to people when I'm discussing the company, the mission, consecration, is it's not any one particular faith. It's completely interfaith. That has been documented. We've had interfaith prayer openings with every denomination I can think of. It is more about the intention of the mission, which is to make people's lives better and be your best self, which is an amazing idea and a novel idea in corporate America. So the two sometimes can be interesting to talk about. But I say, like, if I were to start a new business, if I were to find a new vocation and start my own business, I would love to follow the model of Qualfon. I would love to be in service to anyone and everyone that I could be in. So that's the way I frame it. Does that sound fairly accurate?
Very well, because it's the purpose. And many companies today, and many of them very important, they are discovering, or they have discovered their purpose. The purpose is the why. And our mission is very, very unique because we have the what and the why. The what is be the best. And the why is and make each person's life better. So we have the mission and the purpose in our in this statement. And I would like to say the full version of the mission, because what we have been talking is about the short version.
Right.
But the full version is very important. Our mission is to help as many individuals as possible, and that's because we are growing, because it's part, to pursue their total vocation, the purpose of life of every person. Create an ever-growing number of career development opportunities. This is so important. This is the way that we make each person's life better, with opportunities, and be the partner of choice for all our clients. So this long version is so important to remember when we're talking with the short version, because it gives meaning to what means to make each person's life better, right?
I love the way Roberto has said that our job, and he's said this addressing those of us that are part of the mission department, but it's probably not limited to us, right? It's all of us. Our job is to bring the mission statement from the wall to the floor. And I thought, wow, that's a profound way to look at it. And we are organized in such a way with, Roberto's leadership, of course, to do just that. And that's what we do.
This is important. Look at this. We have two very important leaders that are guiding all of us. One is the chairman, Alfonso, who is an engineer and systems engineer, and Maymar, who is a math and a master's in education. Both of them taught me and helped me to develop the mission into programs and processes. So our mission is a concept that it's attractive, but then we need to execute that. And the way that we execute that is through programs and services, through processes. And those programs are divided in 5 verticals, which is good communication, take care of others, learn, meanwhile we work, give at work, which is community service, and fun at work, which is relationships and social activities to learn from others and also manage our life in a way that it's more entertainment and more excitement. Those 5 verticals are the umbrella of programs and services that are under each one of them. This is a great contribution of our 2 leaders. They helped me to develop the mission in order to move the mission from the wall to the floor, Jeremy. Executing programs, which is, I think, what makes Qualfon unique.
Can we talk a little bit about strides? Because I know, coming from a BPO background, acronyms is just part of the part of the lifestyle. But strides is an acronym, and can you tell us how it relates to what you just spoke to?
Okay, if we go back, we know that our mission has the what and the why, but we need the how, and the how is our values, our strides values, which is an acronym of our 7 values. So those values guide us in our everyday function or duties or work, right? So we have service, teamwork, results, integrity, dignity, encouragement, and spirituality. Those 7 values have behaviors. Those behaviors are giving us guidance in how to execute the mission. So the values is an agreement that we do to each other and a commitment that this is the way that we are going to execute our job and the mission. So I think the strides is a shield. If you remember the logo and the image is a shield and has 7 peaks, which represent the 7 values with an image of a person with the stretching the leg to make strides, and with different colors. And every color represents diversity in our background, cultural background, our diverse language and diverse countries and diverse beliefs, faith traditions, or lifestyles. It's the unity of a lot of people, which brings richness to a place that we live, a common mission. So the strides are very important to every member of the Qualfon family. Very difficult because they are not easy.
No, but we have a book called The Mission Leader, Leadership 3 Dimensions at Qualfon. And to me, this was one of the best ways to learn a lot of the details that we have.
Marisol and Jeremy, when we have a mission and values, then we need to execute. And how we execute that purpose, that mission, living values that are behaviors. Well, we need a leadership model. And everyone knows that to be a leader is a very strong, a very popular word that we use every day in our society. Leaders, strong leaders, servant leaders. But Qualfon wanted to take that concept to a very clear path for each one of us. So a think tank that was formed to resolve this question came with a concept of, in Qualfon, we are going to try to become a mission leader. And the mission leader is that person who lives 3 dimensions. We should be good mentors, good managers, and good messengers. You see the 3 M's. So the big M is the mission, and the 3 M's are the leadership model for each one of us. So in that way, the leadership concept is clear to each one of us and to each supervisor who has 20, 18, 16, 22 persons under his or her supervision to develop with those 3 dimensions their teams, their team members. So the Qualfon mission leader, the QML, or the 3 M's, is key for a mission. Without Qualfon mission leaders, we can have a mission, but we don't execute the mission.
When I first read the book is, I think, when everything kind of hit for me. I'm a remote worker, and I hadn't been to Summit previous to this year. And reading the book and listening to not only yourself and others, but Alfonso at Summit really brought everything home to me, that this is a different kind of company. I'm grateful to you and to all our mission leaders for everything that they do.
We're grateful to you. We're grateful to Jeremy. We're grateful to each one of the associates that are working right now in the floor, in the work at home model, giving their best to their customers. And we are so grateful because they are the purpose of our mission. We want to help them because for many of them is probably the first job. Many of them are young. Most of them are women. They are in their stage of life that they are discovering their potential. And Qualfon and this industry has so many to offer to each one of them: discipline, skills, a very strong ethic workplace, and the dimension of our clients' job is incredible. We work for the best companies that they entrust to us their projects are the best. So we are working for incredible companies that they allow us to teach to our young or middle-aged workers the best of the best, because they're working for the best.
Yeah.
And I have a theory personally, this is anecdotally to me, I have a feeling that there's a new take on I don't know if I want to say corporate America, but on businesses and on just everyone looking for something more. than what has been presented as options in the past. I feel it. I just feel a sense that the things that we are currently doing, have been doing, and are working to continuously improve on is stuff that people are just starting to open their eyes to. And so I think it's exciting. I think the future is going to be very bright.
And I think there are one condition. The mission and the values are our commanders, including they are the commanders of Mike and Alfonso. At Qualfon, the superior authority are our values and our mission. And the integrity that we should demonstrate, that living those values is where we really walk the talk, or we synchronize audio and video, which is the difficult part as a human beings. We are very imperfect, and we know that. And we do mistakes, and we need each other. That's because the communication has to be open, and we need to confront the reality to our behaviors all the time, to correct, to improve. And that communication has to be transparent, because if we say something, we need to be transparent. And you know that Mike Morrow shares the state of the company every Friday to all the middle management level. Every Friday, every manager.
Oh, I know, because I put that report together.
Exactly. And you do a great job, because every manager knows the state of the company every Friday. A lot of trust. A lot of trust to do that.
Well, Roberto, I just want to hop in and we'll probably need to have Roberto back, Marisol. I think so. Here is the unanimous observation that people will make about Roberto. To a person, people will say, oh, every time I spend time with Roberto, I always feel so much better. And that is the gift that, excuse me, I'm getting all emotional. I have to cut this out, Roberto.
Hey, Jeremy, I need to call my wife, and because she is probably my leader, my mission leader. And my kids, my 6 kids are my mission leaders. They are teaching me every day, and I am learning from them. So I thank for your words, and I think it's a company. It's not about us. It's not about me. It's a company that allows us to bring the best to the table. And this idea of the podcast was the idea of Marisol, and suddenly we are doing podcasts. And Jeremy, you brought many other ideas, and now we're leading your way to teach and to train leaders. This is beautiful, where everyone can come and say, I have this, and let's do it. And then the openness of Mike and the Doc, Kearney, and everyone at the team to say, oh, let's try it. Let's try it, let's do it. And it's something that we need to keep and protect, because it's not easy. Right. We should continue living. And someday there is going to be another mission leader, another chief mission officer, for sure.
I'm very grateful that you are the first chief mission officer for Qualfon. I think you've set the precedent for not only Qualfon, but any company that wishes to duplicate such a wonderful intention is the best word I can come up with. So thank you, Roberto, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone who is listening. The mission is yours. Take it. Everyone owns the mission. We should live the mission together. We need each other to live the mission. We embrace everyone. We invite everyone. And if we are not doing a good job in any of our commitments, let's talk about it. We always have to be the humility to always learn from mistakes or omissions, which is the contrary of the mission, is the omission with the O. and it's the only way that we live the mission, always learning from each other. Thank you, Jeremy and Marisol, to invite us to speak, to share, and to be more generous, because communication is generosity.
Thank you, Roberto.
Roberto. Thank you very much.
All right, Jeremy, I hope you don't edit out that part where you got emotional talking about Roberto, because that was lovely.
Oh,
but,
well, I'll people may not hear it because I may have edited it out, but Roberto knows that about me, that I'm a big ball baby anyways. But I really am serious about that. Roberto is, he's a light, right? He's a light.
Mm-hmm. He's one of the people that I enjoy having a conversation with.
Absolutely.
Probably in the top 3 or 4 people, because the conversations always have depth and always, like you said, I always leave feeling better, like a better human being. So he's
well, and if you think about our mission, I mean, who better would you want in that role? You know, because he lives that every day. You know, and when he interacts with folks, they are better from the experience. So I'm a Roberto fan.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us, and we will have new podcasts up for you in 2 weeks. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Marisol. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Mission Qualfon. Remember, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Mission Qualfon.